It's the most wonderful time of the year. Well, you know, the holidays are over by the time this goes up, but it's fine. It's fine. It's all right. It still is the most wonderful time of the year because this is when we start to get all of that end of the year wonderful content where people start talking about their reading goals and their, you know, best books of the year, their worst books of the year, series that they completed, series that they're going to carry. It's just a lot of great content that comes out, and it is my favorite time of the year because I love seeing what everyone has achieved for the year. Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookishrealm and I am back here with another video. So as you can see from the title, we are here to discuss my 2024 reading and channel goals. Now, I know I have spoken a lot about where this channel is going and how long I am going to maintain some space here in the community. And as I always say, and as you know, I keep myself in check, I don't have an exact timetable, but you know, life changes, things happen. And sometimes it's, you know, about that time to move on. But for right now, we are still here. And so I wanted to discuss a little bit of my 2024 reading goals and channel goals. And it's not a lot. I only have a 4 in each category because y'all know I typically make plans at the beginning of the year, right? And, you know, make all the plans with the greatest of intentions. However, life has a way of taking a course of its own. And so life will continue to impact all of us some way, some shape, some form. And so I have these plans and they may change throughout the year. It all varies. It definitely is going to vary. So I have a couple of things that I am revisiting that I didn't get to this year, a couple of new things that I have on the horizon, and I'm excited. So before we get started, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to support the channel, like via Patreon, we have a lot of great stuff going on there. All that stuff will be down in the description box below. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's do our reading goals first, and there's 4. All right, so first up, reading goal number 1. I actually had set this goal 2 years prior. I think I set this goal going into 2022 and also going into 2023, and I'm going to set it again going into 2024. I did not accomplish it in 2022, but I am happy to say that in 2023, I've reached my goal of reading 100,000 pages. That has been a huge thing for me because it is not an easy feat, especially because I have a tendency to read a lot of shorter books simply because of the fact that I do have a tendency to focus a lot on children's lit, and so a lot of times you're not going to get those whopping 500-600 page books. That's just not realistic, and it shouldn't really be a thing for children's lit. That's a different conversation for a different day. And so it takes me a conscious effort to see if I could ever reach that 100,000 goal, and I'm happy to say that I made it this year. I am super shocked and surprised. I actually made it. I made it, and that makes me super happy and really gives me the confidence that I can do this goal again come next year. Now, I think what really helped me out this year is that I did pick up some pretty hefty books this year that were over 500 pages. I think the longest book that I read this year was Roots, and that came in at almost 900 pages. And so, you know, little bits like that throughout the year definitely did help me accomplish that goal. So that's going to be the first goal that I'm going to set in terms of my reading for 2024. The next goal that we have is I want to make a more conscious effort to keep up with new releases. Now, I know that I have a tendency to read kind of like half and half new releases and backlist stuff, but I have been, you know, working in my position in collection development for a library for almost 3 years now. I'm coming up on year 3 in 2024. It's been an amazing 3 years. I've learned so much. And one of the things that I have noticed is that keeping up with new releases naturally is part of my job because that's what I do, but not just keeping up with them in an awareness of knowing what is coming out, but also also, mind you, making sure that I actually read these new things. And so it's great to have this awareness, but it's like, you know what, I should actually be reading these things. And the reason why I do this is because it helps me with doing comping and creating lists and stuff that I do for my personal work. So I'm not too sure if that's necessarily going to impact anything that you see on this channel in the bookish online community, but I just want you to know that if you kind of see that traction whenever I'm doing wrap-ups or highlighting certain titles, that's what's going on. It helps me stay very, very diligent in what I'm doing in terms of my work life. And so yes, I decided to make that a goal of mine. Goal number 3 is something that I have been attempting to do for the past 2 years, and I feel like I did a little bit of a better job going into 2023, but I still wasn't as strong in this area as I wanted to be, and so I'm making a more conscious effort in 2024 to make this a thing that happens. As you all know, I have a tendency to read a lot of picture books, not only because I have a little one, but also because picture books are amazing. I absolutely love them. They're fun to read. I have found some of my best reads for 2023 have been picture books, and I have a tendency to read a lot of picture books. The issue is I don't document them, y'all. I don't document them at all. It's not a conscious effort as, you know, me reading a children's book or middle grade or YA or adult. I don't think about it in that way sometimes, which is just super. It's an issue because I know a lot of people do watch my content. It's not everyone, but I do know that a lot of people watch my content and they are getting picture book recommendations for their own little ones or little ones that they may know or are part of their life. Educators I know get picture book recommendations for me, and so I want to be diligent in keeping up with documenting that and doing more recommendations around that. So one of the ideas that I had is it's kind of hard to wrap up and review a lot of picture books at one time. It just ends up being a lot, and there's so many things to talk about. You would think like, oh, a 30-page book, you could review that in like 30 seconds, but the components of a picture book are very, very complex, and so there's so many different areas that you could critique or also praise. And so it extends wrap-ups. And so I was thinking that maybe in 2024, I haven't worked out the details of how I want to do this. I kind of have a rough idea of doing some sort of like picture book roundup every single month. If y'all were actively aware of the amount of picture books that I actually read, the number of books that I have documented on Goodreads would escalate very quickly, and that may be a thing that happens in 2024. I don't know yet. You know, I missed a lot of books that I was supposed to review this year. I just didn't document them. There's no record of me having read a certain number of books. So actually my Goodreads numbers and everything are not accurate for 2023, which actually that should have been another one of my goals, is to be more diligent about how I track my books. But it's just one of those things where, you know, sometimes you're just reading and it doesn't necessarily have to be a tracking thing. But for picture books, I do want to spend some time highlighting them. And the picture book roundup would basically be just one complete video where I am discussing all the picture books that I read for the month. Now, the thing about this is that I do not want to wait until the end of the month to film this. And so what I may do is not necessarily a vlog style, but I may do a sit down clip every single week for that month, and just talk about the picture books that I've read for that week, and then compile all that footage together into one video. I would rather do it that way than daily vlogging. That just is not going to work in my favor. Daily vlogging, as you know, I go in and out of vlogging. Sometimes I want to do it, sometimes I don't. It depends upon how chaotic my week is. But I think doing a picture book roundup where I sit down and I'm just filming a quick clip and compiling that information together at the end of the month would be a great way to do it. Let me know how you feel about that. All right, and this last goal should come as no surprise to anyone who's been a part of my channel for the past year or so. I have been a youth services librarian for a very long time. Most of my career has been spent focused on youth services, in the sense that I am primarily looking at literature for ages 0 to 18. And I think that this year I have done a much better job of making sure that I am reading the literature, documenting it, recommending it, and expanding just what this channel represents in terms of of books that I'm reading. That's not to say that I don't read adult books. I do read adult books, but I want to continue to highlight and promote children's lit, which has just as much value as adult literature. And I think I see that a lot from fellow librarians as well as educators, but I want to use my platform to be able to showcase a lot of those books. I know that middle grade has a very, very strong hold in the book community, whether that's Bookstagram, TikTok, or on BookTube, but I definitely want to make sure that I am doing my part in elevating and lifting that up, especially because of the issues that have been going on with Goodreads. We know everybody has kind of been discussing it, how there was no graphic novel, children's, or middle grade section. And I know people were mainly talking about, you know, graphic novels, poetry in middle grade, but I would even go further to say, you know, Goodreads used to do a picture book category as well. They no longer do the picture book category. And unfortunately, that is a way that that information is communicated to a lot of people. I am in a position of privilege where I get to see a lot of what's coming out from publishing on the back end before a lot of the public is able to get access to it. And I get access to it in a way that is more cumulative than people having to search through website after website after website after website just to try to gather some information. And so I want to make sure that I am translating that information into this platform so that people can, you know, if you're ever interested in children's literature, or, you know, you have people in your household who are interested in children's literature, like, I want to be that source of information for you. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over. Told you it's only 4 goals. There's 4 goals for each category. I didn't want to create this long, lengthy list because why? It just makes it much harder to accomplish our goals. I will say before I jump into the video goals, I am setting my Goodreads goal at 250. I set it at 250 every year. It is what it is. I have been making 250 plus for the past 3 to 4 years, I think, at this point. And so I'm, you know, that's just my standard. I usually go over it, but I don't like to make it so high that I feel like it's unattainable, or make it so low where I'm constantly like changing it. It just, 250 is just a good place for me. I just thought I would add that in. All right, so video goals. One of the top things here is just consistency with posting. I think I did a good job of that this year. I didn't really take any major breaks. Typically in years past, I've taken like extensive breaks in video creation, and this year I didn't. And a lot of that had to do with just a lot of planning on my end, a lot of just ideas coming to me, and it just felt easier to create content this year. And so I think 2 videos a week is doable. Now, the way that I want to structure it this year, and don't hold me to it because we all know that I usually do not function well when it comes to having a lot of structure when it comes to this, because the rest of my life is so structured. I believe I talked about that maybe on my comic book channel, or maybe I talked about it here. I'm not too sure. But I think what I would like to do is at least 1 recommendation video a week. I've talked about that in my last recommendation video, where I literally, that's what I do. Reader's advisory recommendation. That is where my skill sets lie. And I really want to hone in on that, like very much so. So I would love to do 1 recommendation video a week. And we are back once again, and y'all are just going to strangle me. You're going to strangle me. But we are back again trying to figure out how to do wrap-ups. I really didn't do a lot of wrap-ups this year. I started doing the weekly wrap-ups and kind of slowly fell off of that for a plethora of different reasons that I'm not going to get into. I did vlog a little bit through the month of like October and November, and that basically was off of like Blackoween and just, you know, wanting to document that whole process and support of the wonderful readathon that Bree had created. But I think I want to shift right back over to doing the weekly wrap-ups. I know that a lot of my content now is discussion heavy. I know that a lot of people like the discussions I do about things related to the community, things that are related to book banning and book challenging, just, you know, those stream of consciousness videos I know do very, very well. But at the end of the day, I started this channel to read, to share my love of reading with you all. And half the time I feel like most people don't even know what I'm reading unless you follow me on Goodreads. And I know that everybody doesn't use Goodreads, and I'm not on Storygraph. And so a part of me is kind of like, do people even know what I'm reading? I mean, sometimes, you know, I do videos and you kind of get an idea of what I'm reading, but not completely. I know that the weekly wrap-ups, you know, they're hit or miss. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. But that kind of goes into two of my other bullet points, which we're just going to go ahead and shift because we're already there. I think that two of the things, and this actually could have just been one goal, is I'm getting to the end of this idea of video content for performance. It's easier said than done, and I, like many other creators, struggle with that. Platforms like YouTube are not very rewarding. You can know how much time and energy you put into a video, you know, the reading that you do, and the amazing feelings that you get of coming up with this idea, and you share it and it doesn't perform the way that you want it to perform. That is very disheartening. It is. It can be disheartening. It can take a hit to how you feel about yourself, you know, your content, your channel. And because I feel like I am, you know, getting close to retirement, just a little jokey joke there, just a little jokey joke. Because I feel like I'm getting older. Two, this is not my primary source of income. I always say that. I can't rely on YouTube for anything. It's, you know, like I said, it's always nice when, you know, you have the support, you see some, you know, extra funds come in. It is nice, you know, to be able to save that money up or do something nice for yourself, to reward yourself for the content that you created. But I work a 9 to 5. Okay, like that's where my income comes from. That's how I pay my bills. And so, you know, I'm gonna get a little bit of alleviation with, you know, my daughter not being in daycare fall of next year. She'll actually be in school, and so that takes, you know, a mortgage payment out of it takes a mortgage payment out of the out of the whole scenario of this thing. And so, yeah, I mean, that's not to say that it still doesn't hit me sometimes, because I'm being completely transparent here and being very real. Like, yeah, it does. Sometimes it does affect me, and sometimes I'm like, dang, you know, I thought that the video was going to do great. I thought people, and it's not to say that people don't enjoy it, because listen, you know, any view is great. Any number is great. I think that sometimes as a creator, you go in and you have this expectation of like, oh, this is just going to blow through the water, and it doesn't. And, you know, you can be kind of hard on yourself. But I think for me going into 2024, it's valuing the community that I have here, and not, you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses, not trying to keep my eyes out on what everybody else is doing and whether people's channels are successful or not comparing myself to other creators, because I'm only me. You know, I can only do what I am able to do. I can only do what my time and my mental space allows me to do. And I have to keep that in mind, and I have to keep that in check. And I don't want to ever fall into this space where I'm creating content for views. I think that, you know what content is going to do well. Usually the videos that are, you know, no longer reading these authors, or these things are problematic, or the discussion, those are always going to do well. But you always have to keep in mind too, like, at what expense of enjoyment and fun are you paying for doing that stuff constantly and consistently? Like, you know, I don't want to get to the point where I quit BookTube, not because I feel like it's my time to go, and that I you know, it's others that are coming into the community now, and it's their time to shine and to make content. I want to leave on those terms, on good terms. I don't want to leave because I'm like, you know what, F this, I don't enjoy it anymore. This is not fun. I get no enjoyment in being a part of this community. I don't want to get to that point. And so for me, 2024 needs to be the year where views are not a thing, and I need to have fun. That's not to say that I won't have the discussion videos every now and then, you know, reacting to stuff that happens in the video, in the community. That's not to say that those videos won't exist, but I want to make sure that I am prioritizing what makes me happy, and that I'm enjoying doing content creation. I think the past few years have been hard on a lot of us, viewers and content creators. And so 2024 is a year in which I want to declare peace, not only for me and this community, but also peace in every aspect of my life. 2023 was not like a super rough like year. 2019 was a horrible year for me. Okay, the first half was. My daughter was born in September. That was a beautiful moment. But 2019 is probably one of the worst years that I've ever experienced. I haven't had a year like that since then, and I'm thankful and I'm blessed not to have it. But you know, with the pandemic and everything, that was collective trauma for all of us, and I just wish all of us would find some sense of peace and healing in 2024. And so it's a goal for myself, but also it's a wish that I have for everyone, because there's so many creators right now coming out with videos that are just stressed. They're not happy. It's overwhelming and it's becoming too much. And I hope that in 2024, we all shift into a space where, you know, we're happy doing what we're doing. And if we need to step away because it's not making us happy, you know, we step away, we reevaluate, and we come back stronger than we were before. So that really is a huge thing for me going into 2024, which is why I go back to, I think part of my hesitation in doing the weekly wrap-ups is that I know that everybody's not a fan of them. Like, everybody's not going to watch them. But I think mentally I'm going to have to move past that, because I'm here to talk about books. And I have found myself recently not doing that as much. Not really being the front face of the literature that I want to highlight. Like, I haven't been doing that, and I had fun doing the weekly wrap-ups. It was nice to be able to sit down and talk about the books that I'm reading in depth, because we all know the way that I read, the mid-month and the final wrap, it's not ever going to work for me. You know, those videos end up being an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And, you know, some of my weekly wrap-ups were still pretty long. We're talking, you know, like 45 to 50 minutes. But it just seems overwhelming to have to do everything that I've read in 2 weeks. It's and the way that I've been reading lately, it's a bit much. So I do want to revisit the weekly wrap-up as part of my two videos per week type of situation that I have going on. And the last video goal that I have is that one area that I think I failed dramatically this year, an area where I feel like I kind of disappointed myself. And this almost ties into the have fun. I didn't step into the creative videos that I wanted to step into. I had all of these ideas that I wanted to do this year, and I just I don't feel like I like paced myself well enough. I don't feel like I took the time to really hone in on these ideas. I was just thinking of what's going to be quick. And some of these videos that I have ideas for are going to they're going to take time, and I need to be patient, and I want to be able to do those more creative videos. I really do. Some of the ones that I was thinking of in terms of like this channel specifically is I'm still working in my Rewinding YA video series, where I am reading YA books from every decade since its inception. So right now I've been working on a video for a while now that I'm reading YA books from the 60s and the 70s. You know what I'm saying? And it's been an interesting experience. Some good, some like, what in the world am I reading? But it's been fun, because it's even as a librarian, it's very interesting to go back and taste test how far that age category has grown, and what's been like pivotal to that age category. And so I wanted to continue to do that. I still wanted to do my book band diaries. I have fun doing those. I think I did 2 of those this year, maybe 2 or 3 of this year, and each one of them were fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. One, I didn't enjoy the book, which is fine. I didn't enjoy the book, but I did, you know, appreciate being able to see, like, you know, have those open discussions about why this book had been banned in challenge, and looking at the content myself. And I revisited The Bluest Eye. I started another one which will not come out by the end of this year, but it will be up for next year. So I wanted to keep those. The Around the World, I only put out one of those videos this year, and my goal was to do one per month, or one at least a quarter, and I didn't even keep up with that. But the one that I did, it was so fun to do, y'all. It was so fun just learning more and broadening my, perspective and reading translated literature. It was a very eye-opening experience for me. And so I would love to continue that. I wanted to do a Newbery Caldecott project where I go through and I pick a specific year for both a Newbery and a Caldecott, and I read the award winners and the nominees. Once again, going back to that, like highlighting children's literature, like those are things that I think would be fun. I wanted to do a picture book food vlog where like I read picture books that have like recipes in them, and then me and my little one, we make food from those picture books. Like so many fun ideas that I think I can do if I just took the time to appropriately plan them and not worry about like, are people gonna like this or not? Like if it's something that I enjoy and something that I want to share with the community and share on platforms, and I really think that that's something that I should do. And so I have a whole list, mind you. You probably can't see it, but I have a whole list, y'all, of ideas that literally have been popping up to me in my mind in the past like 2 or 3 months. And I think I should do them. I think that, now is the time. Like now in this moment is the time for me to explore all of that stuff. So yeah. All right, y'all, like that's it. Those are the reading goals and the video goals. I know that, it's just 8 there, kind of 7 if you wrap 2 of those video goals together. But I didn't want this to be long and extensive and strenuous. Like I didn't want to do that because I already have a thing where if I plan too much or put too much on my plate, I get overwhelmed very easily, and then nothing gets done. And so I want it to be very, very mindful of that. But in the comments down below, let me know what are your reading goals, and if you are a creator, let me know if you're doing content, like if you're doing content on YouTube, TikTok, Bookstagram, like what are your ideas? I have some other ideas for TikTok and Bookstagram, but I won't talk about that here. I've been running the ideas past a couple of people, and I'm hoping that maybe it's something that could come to fruition in 2024. But yeah, as always, y'all, thank you for watching. Happy New Year. If I don't, I'm trying to think, I probably will post another video before the year ends, but be on the lookout for my best and worst books of 2023. I'm going to do it a little differently, especially with the best books this year. I'm going to do it by category. I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, as always, y'all, I will be back with another video soon. Bye. I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down.